Well, ladies and spankelmen, today is another glorious day of Gamestop mail opening. They had a lovely sale this last week that was a buy two, get two free of $15 and under games. So I think almost all of what I'll be opening today is games that I found on GameStop for $15 and under. And you guys have the privilege today of watching me flex my substantial wealth with all of these $7 games. So buckle in, because it is going to be a wild ride. Oh, and also, in addition to these here, we have this bag of packages as well. So if you are watching and you work for UPS and you deliver these bad boys, I just want to say a heartfelt I'm sorry, because no one should have to deal with this. But unfortunately, the way GameStop sends packages out is they don't come from a centralized warehouse like with Amazon. They come from all of their different stores. So I end up, ordering 300 games and getting 100 packages. So that's just kind of how it goes, but I guess it makes for a more interesting video. And what I'm going to be doing as I go along, this time I had the foresight to ask people who are following me on Instagram if they had any questions that they would like answered as I'm going through all of this. So that's what I'm going to be doing for you guys. On the back of this check, for some reason, is where I wrote them down. And hopefully that'll just keep things interesting as we're going through all these. There will probably be a decent number of doubles, triples, 8 pulls, things like that. I don't think I got many more than like 10 copies of any game. But boy, I think it was last Tuesday, I spent like a whole day just scanning every single game in the category on GameStop.com when I realized that sale was going on. And I think it's going to end up paying off. So let's go ahead and get into this. So one of the things that I thought was most valuable from the last video was being able to see at the end just the visual representation of the condition of the games that GameStop was sending. So I'm going to try to do that again here and stack them all up back here by system as I go along. The first game I have here is the Splinter Trilogy, a nice, complete copy. Disc looks good. And this, I was super happy that I saw it go on sale. I was happy in the first place that it was $15 because that's not a bad price. This goes in general for over $20 after fees on FBA. So after the discount, $7.50, that's a really solid steal. I picked up, I think, like 8 or so of them because I don't find this game all that often out in the wild, and just like collections and trilogies and stuff like that tend to do really well. And actually, by the time I had gotten done with all of my checkouts, they were sold out. I wanted to pick up actually a few more of them because they're such solid sellers, but I'm glad to at least get the ones that I did. I'm going to save these boxes back here for the end because I think that worked well last time as well. But boy, there are so many packages this time. I may have to actually make this into 2 parts. We'll see how quickly I can get through them. Second one is, Vikings, Wolves of Midgard. I did just total up everything that I spent on all of these games. I don't know how many games there are in total, but I know that I did end up spending, House of the Dead 2 and 3 Return. This was another Wii game. I can't remember if this was from this sale or the last sale. They're kind of blending together. But this is a nice complete copy, and it's not all too common that I pick up Wii games at sales like these, but the horror genre is doing really well right now. But like I was saying, I ended up spending $2,800 this week on GameStop, and actually this month I ended up spending close to $10,000 with GameStop alone, which is pretty wild given that this time last year I probably did not have, I know I didn't have $10,000 in the bank. I probably didn't have $5,000 in the bank. So I'm grateful to be able to do those kinds of purchases. Next up, we have Tony Hawk Pro Skater 5. This one is disc only, unfortunately. Prices on this are probably doing well just because of the remake that's coming out, which I personally am super stoked for, except I'm really bummed it's not coming to Switch because I did sell my PS4, so it may be a while before I get to go back and play through those, but I did, Pro Skater 2 was my jam as a kid. All right, we've got a few in here. Oh, perfect. Okay, so these are actually some from my last order that I had to reach out to GameStop customer service and let them know, hey, I never got these games, so I'm not sure if these are the original ones that I was supposed to get that just took a long time, or if these are some replacements that they sent instead. But this is 3 copies of Bee Simulator, all nice and complete, or I think complete. I don't know if they were supposed to have any inserts or anything. I think most Switch games don't. One of these is actually going to go in the collection because it is just a weird kind of quirky game like Bee Simulator. That's the kind of thing that I just like to have in the collection, and I would like to play it at one point. It'd be really cool if this was just a super fun game. But the other two will be for resale. I think these were like 10 bucks a piece and they sell for around 20. But that is a good tip for you guys out there. If you are doing GameStop arbitrage on your own, I would definitely keep track of your orders. Don't just assume if you're making a large order that they're going to send you everything. I was looking back on mine because I knew I was expecting to get especially some more advanced games. I had like 6 or something copies of Wario Land 4 that I was supposed to get that didn't end up showing up, and I would check the shipping and it said that it was shipped but still like in transit and it was far past the expected delivery date. I had some more Zelda 4 Swords Link to the Past on GBA that didn't end up showing up, so I had to contact them regarding all of those. Their customer service time is pretty long right now. J-Stars Versus Plus, this is another one that I got a decent number of copies of. I think it was selling in the $15 to $20 range after fees, and this one is, at least it has the case. I don't know if it is supposed to have a manual or not. I'll have to check the other copies that I get of it. But yeah, the lesson of the day is don't trust GameStop. Here's another House of the Dead 2 and 3 return, but this one is disc only, wah wah. Alrighty, so we got a good number in this package here. All right, and a good number of different ones as well. So we have first The Wolf Among Us, nice and in the case. We've got Zero Time Dilemma. I got a good number of JRPGs actually in this load, so that's kind of cool. J-Stars Victory Versus again, and let's see, yep, no manual in that, although the label is a little bit water damaged, it looks like. I'm not sure if I'd be comfortable selling that in very good condition. Oftentimes, if the paper label inside the case, it has significant damage, I'll bump it down to good condition even if it is complete, because if I'm selling something in very good condition, I don't really want there to be much of a chance that someone's not going to be happy with the physical condition. Then we have Journey Collector's Edition. I was actually looking at the description of this, and it looks super interesting. Like there's a game mode called Flower, there's another called Flow. It looks like a very artful game. So man, if this was on the Switch, I'd probably keep it, but it goes for around $20 or so after fees, especially if it's complete. So that was a good one to pick up on the PS3. Then last, we have Def Jam Icon on the 360. Just the game in there. This one I don't think sells all that frequently, but I was surprised at what it was going for. It was definitely worth it at $7.50. But I would love to hear from you guys if you enjoy these kinds of videos. I'm debating whether or not I should continue doing them in the future, because they do obviously make the whole like unboxing and sorting process take a lot longer, but I feel like it's kind of fun and kind of a, like, if someone else was doing it, I'd really enjoy watching it. But let me know what you guys think, or if you'd rather I stick to more like sourcing or informative type videos. This is a game that I had never heard of before, Save the Light and OKKO Let's Play Heroes. Know absolutely nothing about this game. This one's in really nice shape though, so I will take that. Another thing that I wanted to say with this is, especially when I'm making purchases of this bulk, of this quantity, this is Disney Magical World 3DS. When I'm purchasing a whole bunch of games at once like this from GameStop.com, I'm going in with the expectation, one, that a lot of the games they send me will be in acceptable disc-only condition. And I pretty much don't buy games that I really need to be in very good condition, or else it's not worth it, because I just can't expect that. But also I expect that some of these games will go down in price and I won't make all that much on them, because I know for every game like that, you know, maybe I have 5 or 10 copies of it, there'll be another game that I make more than double on. So it all kind of evens out. Some of the prices will end up tanking on these, and because of my repricer that I have, they may end up selling for less than I expected. I don't think any of these I could possibly lose money on, even if I ended up being the very lowest listed offer, but some may not end up being double ups, and when I'm working with this kind of volume, that is just okay with me. So I just wanted to share that bit of business strategy. This is a couple copies of Life is Strange on the PS4. I'm realizing now that I have been filming for over 10 minutes, and we have hardly made a dent. So this is probably going to have to be 2 videos. Let me know if I'm going along here and any questions pop into your mind that you would like answered. There's another House of the Dead. I probably won't be able to get to them in this next one because I'll probably end up filming it tomorrow and I won't post this in between now and then. But if I end up doing more GameStop haul videos, I think those could be a good chance to be kind of like dual Q&A videos, just to kind of have something interesting going on as I am answering questions. So feel free to comment with those if there's any way that I can help you out. Here's a copy of Yakuza Dead Souls for the PlayStation 3. Disc looks like it's in good shape. I got a decent number of these as well. They sell fairly fast. And here is what it looks like in complete condition with the manual and case and everything. That looks pretty nice. So I think now is a good time to get into some of the questions that I had from Instagram. The first one was, what is my craziest encounter that I have had while I am buying or selling? And I haven't had any really exceptional encounters of people being like wild or rude or anything like that really came to mind for me, but a couple things that came to mind were, I one time was at a garage sale and was looking at, this guy had like, it almost looked like a tackle box or something filled with these Warhammer 40K figures, these like little metal figurines that are very collectible and have decent value. They weren't like painted or anything, they were just like in raw condition, and he was asking 20 bucks for the whole box, and I was in the middle of saying, okay, that sounds good. And this other dude, this dad, bolts up the driveway, who I actually had just seen coming out of the garage sale, going back to his car. I was reaching for my wallet to say, like, let's do the deal, and the guy swoops in, grabs it in his arms and says, I'll take it. Thrusts a $20 bill in the guy's hand and pieces out. I was like, what in the world just happened? I just got sniped by this guy. So unfortunately, there are going to be characters like that you will encounter sometimes at yard sales that are just ruthless. Oh, I'll tell you about another time that reminded me of, actually, as I am unfurling these. Aha! Speak of the devil, I just was talking about these. I don't know if these are replacements again or if they are the originals that I was supposed to receive, but we have 2 copies of the Link to the Past Zelda 4 Swords, and also 2 more of the Wario Land 4. None of them are like in the best shape, but honestly, I'm just happy to get them. This isn't all that I'm expecting, but this is a nice start. It's also kind of cool to be getting GBA games from GameStop while we still can, because they're, if you guys haven't noticed, they're retro, and even like Wii and 360 selection is thinning out substantially because they are not accepting those games as trade-in anymore. Like, they just stopped. It's like they woke up one day and said to themselves, what are we doing selling Wii and GBA and Nintendo 64 and all these beloved systems that people have been playing all their lives, when instead we could be selling Funko Pops and plushies? And so that's what they're doing now, apparently. It's beyond me. Don't ask me why. And we've got another copy of Yakuza Dead Souls. Oh, but the other story that I was going to tell, boy, I'm really sorry, this is just so scattered, is from another yard sale. I had seen this ad on Yard Sale Treasure Map that was advertising all of this really good vintage toy stuff, like G.I. Joes and like He-Man stuff, Star Wars toys. A lot of the stuff was still new in the package, like crazy pictures, and it said it opened at 7:30. So I roll up at 7 o'clock because at that kind of sale, like, you need to be earlier. You're not getting anything. Saw these people, they had their garage open. There wasn't really much out. And as I was pulling up, simultaneously 2 other cars on either side of me pull up, and these people start speed walking out of their cars like they were going as fast as they possibly could while not looking absolutely maniacal, trying to be the first ones at this sale. And so, like, these people were literally still pulling boxes off of their shelves, and the yard salers were coming up and not even waiting for them to set them down. They were taking them out of their hands and immediately rifling through them. And rather than saying, like, what do you want for this? What do you want for this? They would say, like, all right, what do you want for this box? And these poor people were like, $20. And they were like, I'll take it. very similar attitude to the guy in the last story, and so they were coming away with boxes and boxes of stuff. I ended up like picking one box, and here was the worst part. I waited for like the crowd to clear a little bit. They were all like sort of digging in their own boxes. She brought another one down, set it down, and I was like, can I look through this? She said yes. So I'm looking through stuff, and then this lady has the audacity to come up and say, hey, how much do you want for that whole box that I'm looking through? And actually, I didn't let the lady respond. I was like, well, hold on. I'm standing right here, like basically holding this thing. And so she like kind of backed off a little bit and went back to her corner with like 5 boxes. So I ended up coming away with that. I don't know. I did okay. I think I spent like $30 and ended up making like 60 on it or something like that. But those other folks, those like ravenous vultures, they scored really big at that sale. I think it's important at yard sales and thrifts and stuff to have something of a code of ethics. Like I don't ever want to be that guy who is like descending into like Black Friday mode and just like throwing elbows and like salivating at this stuff that I'm trying to get a hold of. Like, I want to be civil, I want to respect people. So if you ever catch me at a yard sale bowling over some old lady to get to some like vintage Pokemon cards or something, come over and give me a firm slap on the wrist and say, Caleb, you told me in this video that you would never do this. Shame on you. Got a complete copy of Life is Strange, and then a copy of, what is that, Rune Factory Tides of Destiny, game only. So anyway, that's the very long-winded answer of a couple strange encounters that I've had outsourcing at yard sales. Here we've got another Splinter Cell Trilogy. This one unfortunately does not have the manual. And then we've got another Yakuza Dead Souls. Here's another pro tip for you. Always double check your mailers. If you're like yanking some games out of there, don't just toss them to the side if you have ordered DS games, because guess what? I almost threw this little guy away. Naruto Shippuden, Ninja Destiny 2, and I'm going to go through all of those other ones because I don't want to throw any of these little things away. They are so light and easy to miss. All right, on to another question. So my friend Andy asked like 4 of these. This one is, how are you so attractive? So shout out to you, Nigel, for that one. The answer is a whole lot of editing in post-production. The next one is, are you close to completing your Switch collection? And the answer to that is no, but I am at the point of having to ask the question of what I really want my collection to focus on, because I'm not really a completist. I'm not looking to have every like North American Switch game ever made, but there are a couple things that I do want to have in my collection, a few actually. One is games that I just think will be fun to play either by myself or with other people. So that's going to consist mostly like of main series games or like indie games that are just like high play quality. A few of the main series games that I do not have yet are like DK Tropical Freeze and Luigi's Mansion 3 I don't have. That one actually slipped through my fingers because I had to use it. I had it in my hands, but I had to use it as leverage for my best Switch Lite trade ever. You guys have probably seen that video. This is WWE All-Stars on the 3DS. But besides like main series stuff and games that are really fun to play, I also want to focus on like limited run, like highly collectible games, and also games like Bee Simulator that are just like weird and quirky and I just think are interesting. So I probably will be selling off a couple of the games that I have kept so far, because I think I probably have like 50 plus Switch games at this point. This is a couple copies of Driveclub Vr. This looked like a really solid deal, with selling for $20+ after fees on Amazon. A couple nice complete copies. Games like Penguin Wars and like Legendary Fishing and stuff like that that aren't all that interesting, and also I've played now and are not very fun. I'm not specifically looking for any games for the collection right now, except for those main series ones that I'm sure I'll find eventually. But what I am really looking for are other limited edition consoles, and I'll actually show you guys my progress so far on that collection. So this right here is the part of my collection that I'm really proud of. It's really like the higher dollar stuff, the more collectible stuff that I have on this shelf above my desk here. I've got the Animal Crossing edition Switch right here. That actually has never been opened. I ended up getting that guy at retail price. and also some other ones that I flipped as well. I got this Mario Odyssey Edition Switch that actually came from me getting a set of red Joy-Cons in a bundle deal, and also the Switch with it, so I was like, I'm gonna count that as the Mario Odyssey Switch, and I bought this box and the case separately for I think a combined like 60 or 70 bucks, and so have that as well. Got the normal boxes and then Ring Fit, and I found the Pokemon Edition Switch Lite for retail with the box. It was in used condition on Facebook Marketplace, so that was a good find as well. But yeah, the other special edition Switch consoles are what I would love more than anything to add to the collection at this point. And I actually have what I think is a pretty good idea for a video mini-series on how I plan on doing that. Here we have another little collection, the Jak and Daxter Collection. This one is nice with the case. And also, this is another game I had never heard of. Birthdays The Beginning. This is like I don't know if this is like a children's game. On the back it looks almost like a Zoo Tycoon kind of a thing, but was selling fairly well, so I picked it up. Also in this one we have a couple copies of Abzu. This is one of my personal collection games that I never ended up getting to on the PS4. Yeah, and at $7.50 they are a good deal. But can we just take a second right now to appreciate this PS4 stack? Not a single game so far that is without the case and or manual, at least the case. So that's definitely what I like to see with those, and I cannot complain about those results. I really need to make some faster progress on this, so I'm gonna open a few here and go a little bit more rapid fire. So in this little stack here, we have another Naruto Path of the Ninja 2, and this one is in rough shape. I'm gonna have to make a note of that in the condition because that has some pretty substantial water damage. Then we've got another Disney Magical World on the 3DS, Jurassic The Hunted. This was one that I tried to get more copies of, but for some reason the website, actually all throughout my order process this time around, the website was just glitching out pretty bad. And I would try to add stuff to the cart and it wouldn't let me, even though the cart wasn't full yet, and it was just a pain. Moral of the story again, don't trust GameStop. We've got Driveclub Vr, unfortunately our first PS4 game, and our second PS4 game, Life is Strange, that do not have the cases. We broke the streak. Got another Steven Universe and OKKO. And then we have Sherlock Holmes Crime and Punishment. I got, I think, maybe 6 copies of this or so, I hope, because this is another game that went out of stock as I was purchasing it, which is pretty unfortunate. I was kind of kicking myself because I came into this sale on like the 3rd day of it. It actually had been going on for a couple days, and because they had just had a sale that was fairly similar, but for games $25 and under, I was thinking, there probably isn't going to be all of that much that I really want to buy because I looked through so much last time. But I kind of neglected the $15 games last time, and I ended up buying a whole bunch, as you guys can see. So I'm kind of kicking myself and wishing I would have jumped in on the first day of that sale, and maybe I could have gotten more of the games that I wanted. But I think it's about time for our next question here, and it is, would you ever do a sourcing trip farther away like Toronto, Seattle, or Dallas? I would if given the right opportunity. Like maybe if Erica and I like wanted to take a road trip or something, I would really enjoy sourcing along the way. But the thing is, if I was ever traveling far away, I would have to choose between either taking a ton of time driving, because to get to like Cali or Dallas or whatever, we're looking at like 20 plus hours of drive time. Or I could fly, but then I wouldn't be able to bring almost anything back without either shipping stuff or paying like more baggage fees and stuff like that. And it just is a little bit more logistically complicated, which is why I normally like to stick to either surrounding cities or cities that are on the way to houses of like family or friends that I'm going to stay with. Here we've got another Jak and Daxter Collection on the PS3. How do you say that? Valkyria Chronicles? Valkyria Chronicles? And another J-Stars Victory Versus Plus. But that said, I mean, I'd be open to a resale ride road trip again. I've done it before, and I would do it again. Well, this is definitely the worst condition we've received yet. Driveclub Vr, not only without the original case, but without any case at all. All right, I think this is going to be the last few packages and the final question, then I'll call it a night and pick this up tomorrow. But the final question is, I had a couple different people ask if I could go back in time and do something differently, or if I had advice for myself just starting out, what would that be? And I honestly had to think about it for a while. There's another copy of Life is Strange, because honestly, I really like how I started out in general. I think I did a lot of things right. For example, like starting really small with low-cost items, starting on Amazon really early, and just like educating myself and learning as much as I could from early on. But if I could give my younger self one piece of advice, I think it would be to view other resellers, especially local resellers, not as competition, but rather as almost co-workers or even potential partners. Because when I was starting out, especially with like the FBA book hustle, as I was like at book sales or thrift stores, and I would sometimes see other people doing exactly what I was doing, going through lines of books and scanning with a barcode scanner for stuff to sell on Amazon FBA, I would see those people and think, ooh, I wish they weren't here. I wish they weren't in the game. I wish there was less competition, and just kind of like, you know, eye them out of the corner of my eye and not really want to talk to them. Got Jak and Daxter Collection, as well as, what is this? Oh, Sonic Boom on the Wii U. And I think, honestly, a lot of resellers retain that kind of perspective throughout their whole careers. They see other resellers as the enemy. But one thing that I've just come to realize, not only in resale, but really like in the professional business world in general, but especially in resale, there is just so much opportunity for collaboration and mutual benefit, especially between people in different niches. So even though someone else may be hunting at Goodwill at the same time as I am for stuff to resell, maybe they specialize in clothes and I specialize in video games and electronics, and they may come across a huge video game deal one day at a garage sale. They buy like someone's whole collection for $100, and they'd happily flip it to me for $250 because that's just not their niche, even if the whole collection might be worth $500. So they can make theirs, I can make mine, and everyone wins. But I'm never going to establish that connection and potential profit if I'm just viewing them as an enemy and pushing them away the whole time. So that's a longer version of what I would tell myself if I could go back in time and give myself some advice. Especially because I'm at the point now where, like, if I see someone else out at like the sales or an estate sale or the thrift store or whatever doing what I'm doing, I will almost always go out of my way to talk to them, to exchange information, and then maybe like set up a time to just like get some lunch and talk some shop, because I'm so deeply convinced of not just the value of potential partnerships, but also just having a network in general of other people who do what you do. Because you never know when there may come a time when like maybe that person decides to get out of their business and they're looking to sell off all their inventory at once. There could be a ton of opportunity there. Or when that connection may end up giving you some solid leads for some product that you may not have had access to before. There's so much benefit from having an actual network, and that's something that I would really try to leverage more earlier on if I could. Then our last little game stack of the day is another Def Jam icon on the 360. We've got Mr. Game, what is it? Oh, another Folklore on the PlayStation 3. Another Yakuza Dead Souls. This is a new one, Blitz the League on the 360. That's a solid steal for $750. And finally, another Zero Time Dilemma on the PS4. So, just a little visual update for the day here. We've got a whole bunch of PS4 games here. Unfortunately, the ratio is not what it started out as. Got a decent number of caseless games there. We've got one solitary Xbox One game. That stack is definitely going to grow tomorrow. This was our Wii U game. We've got a few Wii games. I think that's the only title that I really picked up for the Wii. We've got a good number of PS3 and a pretty bad ratio on those. That's 50-50 or so. And then some 3DS games, some 360s, and finally a few copies of Bee Simulator and some GBA games there. So from your good friend, the Cuddly Bear, Winnie the Pooh, and me, a sincere thank you for making it this far in the video. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. That really means a lot to both of us. And how can you possibly resist this face? And I will see you guys in the next video, which will be very similar to this one, and catch you guys on the flip.